Live from the 607, it is the one and only Ocho Duro Parlay Hour with your host Ken M, Soundman Galore JR, and the Padawan J, bringing you all the sports information you need to know.
Fingers slipping down your sides, need it close just to feel alive, and that ain't no urge, no man could wanna fight. I'm only fighting to get it right.
And we're back, folks, with another edition of that world-famous hashtag ODPH. I'm your host, Ken M. To my left, as always, Sound Guy Galore, JR.
You know I'm right here.
And to my right, the intern extraordinaire, Mr. Padawan J.
Oh, here we go.
We do a lot of extraordinary things, so that's why they're extraordinaire. Folks, we got a lot to talk about. Hit us up on that social media. As you always do, we're going to try answering some of the topics you've been bringing to our attention and some that you're going to be definitely looking for as soon as you're done with the show. Pad's got the scoop on the breaking NCAA men's basketball drama, which I don't even want to go into. Pad's going to lead you into that a little later in the show. But first, you know we talk football on the show. We talk NFL all the time. We're going to give you this week's recap of games, starting with Thursday night. And honestly, gentlemen, when you saw this coming on the schedule, who's here said, yo, I'm canceling all my plans. I'm calling people over. We're going to be watching this game of the Rams and the Niners.
If anyone says they said that, they're lying.
Unless, of course, you're a Rams or Niners fan.
Yeah.
Which
you would be watching anyway.
Yes, but
My boy, shout out Zach to Ithaca. He is a diehard Rams fan. He was watching. I know he was. He's been there. He's faithful. Trust me, I know he is.
I went to go see Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which you should go see if you haven't seen it, by the way, instead. And I honestly did not have this game being as high scoring as it was. I'll be honest. I don't even know how I can describe this game other than, was it a video game?
No, it was awesome. I watched every minute of this game.
Break it down for me, Jay.
Okay, I watched every minute of this game, more so because, yet again, don't ask me why, my inner spirit being, whatever you want to call it, gave me a hunch to give Gurley a whirl, and Carlos Hyde for that matter, so I started both of them. Cha-ching! So, of course, I was watching.
Oh, there you go.
That's some fantasy points
and,
right there.
It was a couple, yeah. So, in one league, I started Gurley. The other league, I started Hyde. Hyde, initially, he had 2 carries for 24 yards. I'm like, oh, man, this is best start ever. Then he had some, abdominal issues. They were, stretching him for, 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, crap, it's not going to be good. And then it just turned into an all-out shootout, and I'm like, oh, sweet.
Defense was optional.
It was just back and forth. Jared Goff touchdown. Well, I shouldn't say that because it was all Gurley. Gurley gave me 3 big touchdowns. Ooh. So anyway, Gurley's running down the field on one end, and then you're watching the Niners come back, and you're like, Hyde's going wild for touchdowns. You got Brian Hoyer, of all people, zinging it for 350 in scores. I'm like, what the heck is going on with this football game? But I'm like, cheap entertainment on a Thursday night, worth it.
I almost thought it was a fake post when I read the score.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not going to lie. I legitimately thought it was. I was like, Sammy Watkins blew up.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins, 6 catches, $116 and a touch. Actually, he had 2 touches.
Yeah, he had 2 touches.
He got hurt, though.
Yeah, I went with Ken to see the movie, and the credits started rolling. So he took out his phone and looked on Facebook and saw the score of the game, and he just goes, "Wait, the Rams the Rams beat the 49ers 41-39?" And my immediate response was, "Wait, what?"
I think everybody that went with us to see that movie was saying the same thing.
And that was with, at the end, an onside kick recovery, touchdown, 2-point conversion failure. The 2-point conversion, they had a 2-point conversion to tie, and the receiver gave up on the route. Otherwise, it would have been a tie game. We'd have gone to overtime. It was insane.
Well, I'm glad at least the Thursday night game was eventful. And,
it was great.
And worth watching. No, because, the past couple ones, let's be honest, not really that much high drama, kind of very lopsided on both week 1 and week 2.
I tell you what, though, I know we talked about it last week with the empty seats in the stands. They still were pretty empty for a Thursday night game, but I tell you what, the people who went there got a hell of a show. And that game was amazing.
And that's what you want when you go to a game. You don't want to be bored.
Right.
And that definitely delivered on that. Going into Sunday, let's go Buffalo. 26-16 over the Broncos. Now, I will admit, I was a little skeptical that they were going to pull this off going into the week. But they found their passing game. The defense has been playing lights out. And I will say probably one of the worst unsportsmanlike conduct calls in recent memory, if that was the case, I didn't hear the audio, but for pulling the fake handshake,
It's not taunting. Give it a
weird.
break.
I,
They're laughing at each other.
I will admit, I thought that was. I was like, really? Oh,
They're literally laughing at each other. Tyrod's giving him like the fake fist bump, like, yeah, man, that was funny. And the ref throws like, what?
I was just.
What?
I was actually just hoping that they challenged the call.
Initially,
Like, could you?
no. Initially, you were thinking that maybe the ref threw a flag for a late hit, roughing the passer, because that's the only when he said unsportsmanlike conduct, you're like, okay, he shouldn't. I mean, he drilled him, he almost sacked him. I mean, the ball was just leaving his hand, so I'm like, that's a really tacky roughing the passer if that's what you're going to give him for.
Yeah.
Taunting? What?
The minute he said taunting,
That's not taunting.
The minute he said taunting, it was like,
Come on,
you know what, this
that's
doesn't
not
make
even
any
cool.
sense. This is, I will admit, I thought it was an awful call. I was more in shock about it. Like, okay, but it is what it is. I don't agree with it, but what am I going to do about it?
Knowing you are the Bills fan, loving the game, I actually had tickets to this game. Somebody in my household is a Broncos fan, wanted to go, and then we decided not to go for a good reason because it was a very hard game to watch for somebody. I personally didn't care about the game. Somebody in my household had a rough watch.
Yeah, which I knew. I actually have some Broncos fans that are friends that were texting me about the game and just be like, what do you say about it? I'm like, I just say that's a win, and we're looking forward to playing Atlanta next week.
I'm so confused by Denver. How, I mean, okay, granted, you come on the road, you've got to travel east. Buffalo, notorious hard place to play. They killed Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago.
This is true.
What was it? They held him like 10 or 13 points or some crazy, like lowest
Yeah.
percentage ever in Rodgers' career in
Something
that building.
like that.
But it amazed me when you go from Buffalo. You have a terrible game. The defense was okay.
Yeah.
Defense played all right. But you held Elliott to 8 yards. Ezekiel Elliott to 8 yards the week before. You made Prescott look like he was having a sophomore slump. And then you go and you have Tyrod and Shady McCoy and the boys go tear you up, and you're like, okay, maybe it's just the road woes. I don't know, but boy, that's a tale of two teams, I tell you.
I honestly thought they took him too lightly. I thought Denver was like, oh, we just killed Dallas. We're going to steamroll through Buffalo. And I don't think they brought their A game. I'll be honest.
They were caught looking forward.
You know, there's a couple people. What do? You circle the wagons in Buffalo, baby.
Yeah, and Buffalo is going to show up.
You got circled.
I will tell you, I mean, I like what Coach McDermott's been doing up there. He's definitely not, panicking, I guess is the word. I am, as other teams maybe, or other coaches have done up there, and kind of just, they get down if some play is happening and something's not going right. He sticks to his game plan. The only thing I got to complain about him is his time management he needs work on. That is the one area that he needs to call timeouts quicker to save more time on the clock. But that's going to come with first-year experience. But I take the win. I can't really say too much other than good things about it. I thought it was a solid effort by the Bills. And Denver, we'll see how they bounce back this week. And pretty much that's all I got on that one. I got other than my Bills one. Yeah, that's it. Going to London now. Jacksonville Jaguars, Baltimore Ravens.
Well, I think you're mistaken. It's not the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's actually the London Jaguars.
Soon to be, probably.
Yeah,
Wow.
they should, because Bortles is unbelievable over there. Look at his stats. Good stat of the day. Shout out. I'll give you the link. It was pretty cool. Bortles in Jacksonville, quarterback rating just above 65.5. In London, 108.4.
Wow.
Yeah, no, he played lights
Take 'em.
out. And so did that defense, which I'm telling you, as I said on the preview show for the season,
8 yards.
that defense is no joke, and it's probably one of the most underrated squads in the league.
Baltimore also lost Jeremy Maclin. I think it was fairly early in the game, and he didn't come back.
Well, they might have
Which
lost him,
hurt.
which it hurt him. Yeah, no, that played a factor, but to get blown out 44-7.
Dude, 28 yards.
Yeah,
28 yards from your $144 million quarterback.
that's unacceptable.
28 with 2 picks.
I know one diehard Ravens fan down in New York City who
what
I
are you
believe
doing?
turned off the game and didn't want to even hear anything about how awful this performance is. We say purple rain to him because he will bleed purple until there's nothing left, and he was even saying Flacco was atrocious.
Yet again, and going to our fantasy league, Gurley, I had Fournette on a flyer. Anybody who's taken him, who's smart, thought about taking him early rounds as your number one, looking good, gave me the touch again. Big shout out. Whew.
Yep. I tell you, he was a beast in LSU, and if for some reason you can get him now, take full advantage because
Or make a trade.
Yeah, now's the time when you start wheeling and dealing because you kind of know how your season's playing out.
I want to say it was something like, I want to say he had only like 14 touches, 72 yards and a touch. And that was just basically like a warm-up because, I mean, that game got so out of hand so fast. I don't think he even played the fourth. They were just on cruise control at that point. So
Yeah.
But
it would be interesting moving forward with the Jacksonville because I would like to see more of a consistent effort because I know like week 2 really kind of hit and miss.
2-1.
Yeah, but they're 2-1.
Just
For like the first time in over a decade.
sink in there. Jacksonville 2-1.
And like I say, not
There it
to,
is.
not to keep harping, but what I say in the previous show.
Yeah, there it is.
I had a feeling about Jacksonville, and they're proving me right thus far. Still a long ways to go because Carolina, boy, I don't even understand how this happened with the Saints. I know it's division, but the Saints, 34 points on the Panthers, and Cam just looked awful.
I got nothing to say. I started Carolina's defense. I couldn't have been more embarrassed. I go week to week. I'm thinking, okay, going into that thought process, I'm like, okay, you know Breeze is going to get his 300. Mm-hmm. You know what's going to happen because that's all they do. They don't run.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned, said about Peterson, their running game's a joke. Not him, but the entire running team. They just don't run because they can't because they're usually so far behind. And, I mean, that offensive line's in trouble, so Breeze is constantly throwing, having to play catch-up, the whole 9 yards. For whatever reason, it just – I don't know. I got nothing, man. That defense looked terrible.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was down at that game, and he's tweeting out. He's like, I don't even know what this game is.
No, you can't. I mean, Cam went 17 for 26, 167 yards, and 3 INTs. When your quarterback's doing that, it's going to make for a long day. And Drew Brees, the old veteran that he is, took full advantage, 22 of 29, 220, and 3.
Yeah, but again, that's going back to like we talked about in the preseason. He had the surgery. He threw 2 throws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time, but
2,
and especially not having Greg Olsen there is definitely hurting that
That's
offense
gonna
too. Mm-hmm. One thing that didn't exactly hurt though, the Bears and the Steelers had a very close game with the Bears winning in overtime, and that was actually a very good game to watch. Did not hurt the eyes watching that game.
that game should not have been in overtime.
No.
For all you young kids out there, anybody who has young kids, finish the play. Play to the whistle. You got to run that right through the back of the end zone. Like Forrest Gump in the movie. You just truck right through the back of the end zone. I don't know what the obsession is with wanting to stop right at the goal line. Everybody's trying to do it.
You're just trying to taunt, and there's no purpose for it.
That game had no reason to go to overtime if you just run in the end zone.
Yeah. You finished
that's
the play.
early in the game, but
you finished the play. But there's no excuse for it.
that's 2 points on a block punt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or, excuse me, not a block punt. Excuse me, on a block field goal. 2 points right there. That game's not even in overtime.
No, but it's just basic fundamentals, 101.
Well, Roethlisberger, if I remember correctly, took a little bit of responsibility for this loss, saying, he's the quarterback. He should have stepped up and done a little bit more. But he went 22 for 39, 235 yards and 1 touchdown. I'm not sure what else.
No, he's going to step up and lead the team. And, hey, it ultimately revolves around your quarterback. End of the day, win, lose, unless, of course, your defense is the 86 Bears or the Ravens of the Super Bowl year, the first one. Either way, it's revolving around your quarterback.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the Bears, they hung in there and they took advantage of the opportunities they had, albeit it should never have gone in overtime. I mean, I completely agree with JR on that.
No, it had no reason to go to overtime.
I remember catching the end of the game, watching Howard run that bad boy in there for the touchdown, for the game-winning touchdown. And I want to say, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure the Bears had 300 yards on the ground and less than 100 throwing. It was some crazy number like that. Like, it was completely lopsided because I know Big Ben had, what'd you say, 270, 220, something, 250, something like that in the air.
Yeah.
And Le'Veon Bell gave me like
Boy.
40. I think he gave me like 40, 45 yards. That's all the ground game they had. And then you look at the Bears, and it was the complete opposite. It almost looked like a like the Penn State college game.
Yeah.
300 yards on the ground Like, that's all they did. Just kept running, and they couldn't stop it. And then
Yeah, 80 to be specific, 84 yards passing for the Chicago Bears and 220 on the ground.
84.
And Glennon is still their quarterback, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
We haven't even gotten to Trubisky yet.
Right.
Nope.
No, but 84 yards throwing, and all they did was just turn around and hand the ball off, and you couldn't stop it. It just
Between Howard and Cohen, I mean, they have a nice 1-2 right there. And their wide receiver core really is nothing to write home about. It doesn't scare anybody. So if you can find a way to stop the run, you can pretty much stop the Bears.
as a Vikings fan, you watch the Bears. I love those smash mouth defenses, and I love that hard knocks, like between the tackles, running, aggressive. Obviously, we had Peterson on the team. He was that, in the early part of his career, you find the gap and you smash the linebacker and you get those tough 7 yards. That's all that game was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see that defense just didn't even want to get hit anymore. You know, they don't. You see the Howard go right into the gap, and the linebacker's just like, yeah, I've taken too many of those today. I need an ice bath after this. He's like, I can't keep getting hit by him.
It was a great smash mouth
It was
football
funny.
game. Easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
It was a great smash mouth one. Another great game that I honestly thought Detroit was going to pull it off at the end. Because Matt Stafford in the fourth quarter is probably one of the scariest quarterbacks currently playing. Because he finds ways to, no matter what the score is, to get his team close or win that thing. And then they just lost 30-26, but the touchdown on the goal line catch there was overturned in the final seconds of the game.
Yep.
So, but I honestly thought he was going to pull it off. I honestly thought Detroit was going to pull off the big upset and go to 3-0 because they're playing at a high level right now, and I didn't think they were going to be able to pull this off.
That rule is really weird to me, though.
Yeah.
So they get the call. So they get the call wrong, and then post review, due to their error, it's an automatic 10-second runoff because it's under a minute.
Yeah, it's a weird.
I don't. And then
I'm not a betting man, but I'm betting that rule's going to change after the season.
I was just
probably.
confused by the rule.
Well,
It's
the
like,
rule,
so wait, so
the
okay,
rule's
so
kind
the-
of messy. So
So they got the call wrong. So then when they correctly call that he's down, quote unquote, he's down. Then by rule, because he was down, the play clock should have kept going.
yeah.
Which ensues an automatic 10-second runoff because the time clock never should have stopped.
Right.
Ah, man, that is really stupid. I'm sorry, but something's got to change in that rule because that seems so.
It probably
And
will.
they probably will. I mean,
You know,
the
it's
NFL's pretty good about addressing stuff like that very quickly. And I'm not sure who the head
I feel bad
person
though.
is behind reviewing that. I know it was Mike Holmgren a couple of years ago. He was,
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I don't think he's involved with that.
I almost feel bad though because it's like, you know what, you get penalized for something that's it's honest. Okay, you've got the people. You should have won the game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have come down to that play anyway. You've got those people out there. I'm one of those people, especially because I'm a Vikings fan in the division. You should have won the game outright anyway. But man, that rule is tough, especially right there. That's a hard loss there.
It is, but Detroit is showing something right now, so I don't think they can really kind of hang their heads too much about it because, like I said, they're coming back in the fourth quarter. They're doing what they can to always prove they're still in the game. It's not like they've been blown out yet, or even when they were down, and I forget the amount as I'm talking right now, when they were down and made their comeback, I mean, they almost pulled it off.
Well, it was 10-0 in Arizona, and then they went on a rampage.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're definitely showing some heart and staying in games. And I think as a fan of them, if you're a fan of the Lions, you got to take that as a consolation prize, I guess, would be the nice way to put it, moving forward. One game that kind of stood out, the Colts and the Browns, 31-28. Pack, your buddy there, Mr. Jacoby Brissett, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad performance.
No. It was actually pretty good for him, and according to the reports we're seeing today, it's likely he's going to get the start on Sunday because Andrew Luck is not expected to practice at all this week.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. He ran for 2 touchdowns and threw for another.
Oh, okay. But no, yeah, it was a good look for him. They're getting in sync. It is the Browns, so they're hit or miss. But, yeah, good look for him. Impressive win.
We're going to take a quick break here on the ODPH, have our little halftime show. Stay tuned. Getting ready to come back for the second half of our NFL recap here on the ODPH. The Vikings and the Buccaneers.
Man, like there was a question. Man. Don't even get me started on this. That was just awesome. That defense is well worth its money, well worth its weight in gold. It showed you Winston was running for his life. He had 3 picks. Buccaneers looked terrible in that game.
Xavier Rhodes played really well.
Of course he did. He got his money. He's number one ranked defensive player. Pfft, forget about it.
And doing it out with Sam Bradford, too.
Case Keenum.
Yeah, of all people.
Pushing 404 bills.
Yep.
He's out there gunslinging, man. He had some solid throws.
And Diggs and Thean.
Whew. Also, this is great because I don't mind. I have no shame. Huge mistake. I made a terrible, could be one of the worst of all time benchings of my life. Start Marshawn Lynch, start DeAndre Hopkins, bench Cook, bench Diggs.
Ooh.
Oh, Sunday morning, 61 points on the bench.
If there's any consolation, I said Jordan Howard this week too. So I feel your pain on that one.
Oh, man, I don't know. I was like, you know what?
But you never know because as a fantasy player, if you load up on one team, it's high risk, high reward. If you're in a shootout like the Rams and Niners were, yeah, you're doing great. If you're in a defensive struggle like the Jets and the Dolphins, not so much.
That one really hurt though. But Vikings, big win, 2-1 at home in the Dome Sunday against the Lions for the top of the division. So that'll be a good game.
Calling a shot. And as I alluded to, your New York Jets not going on winless this season.
Nope.
Nope. They defeated the one and only Jay Cutler-led Miami Dolphins.
Booyah!
See, my cousin is a
Booyah!
Sorry, I'm going to need a moment on this one.
My cousin is a Miami Dolphins fan.
Woo!
My cousin is a Miami Dolphins fan, has been since he was born. Been through a lot of rough years, a lot of long conversations with him. He was sending me expletive-filled messages all day Sunday, and I hadn't seen the score, but based off his messages, I could kind of figure out how it was going. Little surprised about this, to say the least. Didn't see this one coming.
Not to keep referencing, but when we did the preview show, did I or did I not say one of those losses or one of the wins for the Jets is going to either be Miami or Buffalo?
Yeah, but they only scored 6.
Doesn't matter.
No. I'm saying Miami, 6.
Well, that's the one thing I was saying with Jay Cutler. The effort it's inconsistent.
Oh, he put the effort in. He threw 220 yards. It's just they couldn't catch it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's but I don't know. It's something about Jay, and like I said, but I can't see him really kind of rallying everybody around him. I mean, maybe he did. I didn't see. I just saw the score and I was like,
Well, I'm looking at the score now. Jay Ajayi. 11 carries, 16 yards. That doesn't help anything.
No, that doesn't help anything.
Especially my fantasy team.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that will bury some fantasy teams, but the Jets, won and whatever. Maybe they're going to get another win down the road. Miami, not so much 1-1, but as I hear from certain friends that are Miami Dolphins fans, better luck next week, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe this just gives you more hope that after this year, Tannehill is your guy.
Or
you just you know what? The $10 million fly for Cutler.
Yeah.
Maybe not going to work out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how Miami bounces back from this. I mean, they do have talent. I will admit they do have talent on that side of the ball. And they just definitely got to step it up next game. And that's all they really kind of need to do. If they're going to rally around and get it done, they got to just get past this. I mean, they got the Saints next week. So it is a winnable game because they're at home. That will probably be a shootout.
It's going to be a throwing shootout.
Yes.
New Orleans defense doesn't let in a lot of rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, but as a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, I mean, that did bring a smile to my face on Sunday. I'm not gonna lie, because I was hearing about it from one certain Dolphins fan that how the Jets almost beat the Bills opening week, and I was like, you just wait your turn because this might happen to you. No, we're gonna blow them out.
After 3 weeks, Buffalo is still atop the division.
Mm-hmm. I'll take solace in that. They almost had sole possession of the division, but the Texans made one fatal error.
They didn't cover Brandon Cooks.
No, it wasn't that. No, they covered him. They gave Tom Brady too much time at that end of the game.
Yep.
That was the fatal flaw of all
No,
flaws.
no. The fatal flaw is you got to make that pick
Well, that's...
at the 5.
Oh, yeah.
That hit your paws, man. You got to make the catch because that game's over.
Oh, I agree.
You've got the Patriots at 1 and 2. It's a totally different water cooler conversation with the pick. The kneel. You've got the rookie who went in there, gave Brady and them boys all they wanted and could handle. Mm-hmm. Instead, Brandon Cooks on my fantasy team. Cha-ching!
Well, and as a Patriots fan, the thing with Houston, no matter what their record or how they are playing for that season, they typically show up for the game against New England. They could be having a great season. They could be having a crap season. Oh, we're going to New England. Oh, we're going to show up.
I really want to know. For those who know me, I do not like kale. But if it makes Tom Brady look that good at 41, then I'm going to consider like kale smoothies or whatever the heck his concoction is he's drinking. Because
it's kale.
I don't know how the heck he's doing it, man.
He's beating Father Time right now.
It's kale and 2.5 gallons of water a day.
Yeah, but man, really?
But I'm
He's
telling
still
you,
this good? No, I'm saying he's still
No, it's insane.
this good.
It's
insane.
He's dropping dimes, man.
Yeah, no, I was talking with a friend who was over at my house watching the Giants game, which we'll get to in a minute. And I was watching the end of the Patriots game on my phone, and he was making the comment that he's making Brett Favre look a little silly, being how Brett Favre performed at the same age.
Well,
it's insane.
Comparing Favre and Brady is kind of a tough comparison because they just play different.
Right.
All through their career. I mean,
Right.
Favre was just more of a gunslinger, and he could have 5 interceptions. He wouldn't care. He'd still be throwing the ball.
He's probably one of the only people I can remember who could actually probably throw a football through somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had so much arm strength. Like, even Gruden, not sidetracking, but remember Gruden did the quarterback training camp. Did you ever catch that video?
Yeah.
With Brett
Yep.
Favre? And he's reminiscing about how in preseason training camp he broke wide receivers' fingers because he threw it so damn hard.
I remember Donald Driver almost was on the IR list.
He threw it. One guy broke his ring finger because he tried to catch it and he hit so hard. He's like, dude, he broke my finger.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a tough comparison just other than age, but I mean, Brady did what Brady does. I mean, there's nothing else you can really say about that game. Just he pulled out some Brady magic.
But you know what? The rookie looked good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Good.
Deshaun Watson is the real deal.
He is my backup quarterback, though.
No, he is by far the real deal.
But he looked good.
No, to go in there and beat Belichick, who usually destroys rookie quarterbacks their first week.
Oh, yeah.
That's the first time they play him. Mm-hmm. I mean, kudos to him. Houston's got a bright future if everybody stays healthy. Not saying playoffs this year, but future down the road, next couple seasons, they're going to be looking very, very scary. One team that's looking scary, but for all the wrong reasons, and Pat, you were alluding to this, your New York Football Giants.
Good.
And Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't get what the problem is. 0-3 is really not that bad. I mean, you can still make the playoffs.
It's 0-3. It's also their division record, which doesn't help much.
No, the Giants are just. I know I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, but I think now it's only going to be if they buy a ticket. I mean, they've got a lot of answers to do on that offensive line.
I remember going back to preseason after we had our show, I was head scratching. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
The Giants, really?
And you know what? I honestly thought the line was going to play better, and I'll be the first one to eat crow about it. And I'll say, no, they're playing. I mean, that line is just not holding when they need to hold.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, you go.
No, I was going to say, it's funny because Eli, you know who's good for at least a pick or two a game.
Mm-hmm.
Had two on Sunday.
Had two,
Yep.
as would be the norm. But, it kills me. So he's completing passes because I think he's actually leading the NFL in percentage.
He had 366 yards on Sunday.
No, but going into that game, he's averaging like 71% throwing still.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, the defense can't stop anybody. The offensive line can't protect him. But yet somehow he's still getting 70% of his passes completed.
I think it's a twofold issue. It's the offensive line can't stop anybody running through, which makes you go on 3-and-outs real fast. So the defense is sitting over there on the sideline for barely enough time to catch their breath, and then they got to come back out on the field. They're getting gassed.
I mean, he's doing
what he can with what he's got. I mean, he has a talented wide receiver core, including Evan Ingram as your tight end. But you can only do so much.
And the drop balls don't help. Marshall dropped 2.
No, that's another problem.
Again.
That's
That's
another
Shepard had
problem.
133 catches or 33 yards on Sunday.
No, I mean, he has the talent around him. They had OBJ playing well. I mean, they should have won that game outright. They should have.
Don't forget to pay the kicker.
Yeah. 8 ball, corner pocket.
Don't forget to pay the kick.
Jake Elliott is now a legend for a week in Philly, if not longer, if he keeps nailing shots.
There's at least 6 months he won't have to buy a
and you know
beer.
what? And like you said, the thing is, we've talked about it, and it's great because across the entire football community, like Philadelphia is the hardest fans ever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh yeah.
So not only do you have the nerves of the game-winning kicks on the line, you miss. You got to go like Fresh Prince and
just
pat town and go.
Yeah, you start running and you don't look back.
And because you're looking around the entire stadium and they're all looking at you like, you missed,
Oh,
bruh.
yeah.
You're done.
Did you see the video of his
Rookie
family
or not,
was there?
you're done.
Did you see the video? His family was actually in the stands for the game because I guess he was cut like 2 weeks ago from a team. And there was video that surfaced. You can find this online. His family was in the stands, and somebody got video of his family freaking out when he nailed that kick.
I'm just thinking, like I said, one of my best man at my wedding is a diehard Eagles fan, and he's just like, unreal. And I'm thinking, and I even asked him, I'm like, so if he misses that kick, he's like, yeah, he's gone. He missed the kick in Philadelphia. Forget it. You're gone, man. You're already a lost cause.
You've been escorted out of the state.
See ya.
You went out of the state quick,
So,
like you wouldn't even know what to do with.
Especially under all those circumstances, man. That's just impressive. You got the division foe, the Giants, even though they're 0-2. You're going for the win. You got cut by the team because you were missing. And if you miss, you're probably not going to get another shot. So, man, way to step up.
Yeah. Nothing really more you can say about that one. Titans and Seahawks. Titans doing what they do. Pulling off another win. Mariota's looking good.
225 yards, 2 touchdowns.
That was your flyer for the Super Bowl, too.
Mm-hmm. Well, to the AFC game.
AFC title game,
I still
excuse me.
think it's going to be them and the Patriots. And they're playing at a high level right now. You can't even fault that.
No, it's insane. I don't think anybody would have seen DeMarco Murray getting 115 yards and 1 touchdown on Sunday with that.
No, I mean, Seattle's defense is playing solid, but, and it was a very competitive game. You can't take anything away from the Seahawks.
Yeah, a few chip shots at each other.
Well, yeah, it got chippy a little bit, and then I know Doug Baldwin got hurt, too, for Seattle.
Yep.
So,
But, even our boy Dog, who comes on the show, one of the best guys I've ever met and known at a previous job.
shout out to the dog.
Shout out. One of my other boys that I met, down at a previous job, he's a huge, huge Seattle fan. And he's even told me he texted me 5 minutes before the game. He said, guaranteed a loss because Seattle can't travel to the East Coast. And it's true to form. Like for whatever reason, they don't travel well at all. And I mean, granted, that not taking anything away from Tennessee. Tennessee came out, they played, they looked really good. Mariota's doing his thing. DeMarco Murray, they're looking good. But man, Seattle does not travel well. They can't get to Green Bay. They can't do anything on the East Coast. It's like, well, he texted me. He's like, I don't even want to watch because I know they're going to lose.
They did beat Denver in the Super Bowl on the East Coast. That was their one shining moment.
That's true.
That's neutral.
Yeah, I know. I just had to throw.
Well, I was going to say
no, but even Dog was saying too. He goes, it's going to be a tough game. He was still, that was his pick. As he picks Seattle every week. He's picking them for next week, too, by the way.
On their bye week.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like, they're still going to be undefeated.
Take their flyer.
He's like, take the offense on the scrimmage. But he was even saying they need to work out some stuff on the offense, but they're playing better, but he said it was going to be a tough game, and the East Coast hangover is definitely a thing for them. It's a tough break because they do have a lot of talent, but, travel woes are going to get you. One team that had a little, the mystique of Lambeau Field to help carry him through because the start of that game was very rough with Cincinnati and Green Bay.
Never a doubt, brother.
Yeah, well, I thought the Bengals have been known to show up when they least expect it. And they started out that game pretty on point.
Oh, yeah.
And granted, Aaron Rodgers, you never count on Aaron Rodgers. He's like Tom Brady. You just, if you give him enough time, he'll make magic happen.
That's why I love Stephen A's rendition of "That's a bad man," because it doesn't matter if they're down by 40. For some reason, you still have that like shaking feeling, like, "Oh crap, we still might lose this game." Playing Green Bay, like, "Oh god," just for Aaron Rodgers alone.
Yeah, funny story with this game. Old college professor of mine went to this game with I think it was a family friend. He'd never been to an NFL game before. He's not a fan of either the Packers or the Bengals. I think the friend he went with is a Packers fan. Great first game to go to.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're not a fan of either team, holy cow.
I'm so being a Vikings fan, everybody knows I am. I hate how effortless he can get a ball in a 2x2 window.
Yeah.
For a win. And I mean, you see The defender's hand on Nelson, it like the lace grazed his finger going by Nelson as he's falling out of bounds. I'm like, how? What? And he's on the run and he throws this dart, frozen rope right to the spot. And I'm like, I don't know who in the world could get that ball there, but
well, yeah, it's
unfreaking real.
It's Rodgers' incredible play and magic. It's also the defense stepped up in the second half. First half, they gave up 7 points in the first quarter, 14 in the second. Rest of the game, 3.
Yeah, and when you have that kind of effort and you give Rodgers the chance to come back, he's going to do it every time.
It's great because we use your expression. You're going to make chicken salad out of fill in the blank.
Chicken stuff.
But it's their running back is a wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
They don't really have a traditional running back, so it's pretty much play action and screen passing and
getting people to jump off sides.
Yeah, which Rodgers is
the master.
He's the GOAT of that.
You've got Nelson who was playing a little sore. You've got Montgomery who's your running back, converted wide receiver who never carried a football, but because he's fast, he's like, Randall Cobb's not even there. He has no left tackle. He has no right tackle because they're both hurt. And so you've got third string walk-ons who are protecting you, and you, as mentioned, make chicken salad. So
I'm not
unbelievable.
I'm not a Packers fan by any means, but I enjoy watching a Packers game if for no other reason than to watch Rodgers get a free play, because to me it might be the most exciting thing I see, because he's going to air it out, and odds are he's going to make that pass.
He does pull off magic a lot. One team that did not have the magic touch though Sunday, the Los Angeles Chargers. Man, that's so weird to say. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But Kansas City is still maintaining their dominance, and Kareem Hunt is becoming a superstar before our eyes. Another strong performance at him, 17 carries, 172 on the ground with 1 touchdown. Alex Smith is playing like he is not leaving Kansas City, which is great because, hey, who wants to get fired from their job? He is playing like a man possessed right now. 16 for 21, not the best stat line, but no interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Phillip Rivers, 20 for 40, 237 with 3 INTs. Not going to get the job done.
No.
The Chargers,
I'm pretty sure those 3 INTs were in the first quarter. I'm almost positive they were because I kept watching, but I was hoping because Gates I had on the team, and I was hoping that number wasn't real, but it was.
No, they're having some struggles out there, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the whole move, because I think that affects the Chargers a little more than does the Rams being out there.
I just don't think they have an identity on offense. You look at some teams, you go, okay.
And they have the talent, too.
Yeah, they've got all the talent in the world. But you look at some teams, you look at them, you go, okay, yeah, they're a run team. They're going to run the ball down your throat, and you might get an occasional pass out of them. Then you get teams, like we said before, New Orleans, who's going to pass all over the yard until Breeze's arm falls off, and then he replaces it with a bionic one, and you know they're going to pass it. Chargers, if you're game planning for them, there's nothing really there that the opposing coaches are going to go, oh, yeah, they're going to do this first down. They're going to do that second down. You don't really know.
No, and it's kind of puzzling because, like I say, they have a lot of talent on that side of the ball. And the fact that they look lost out there.
Yeah.
With going back to KC, though, it's great because you see to me, you've got the Alex Smith who, okay, so he had an all right game. He's always had that game management style. But, man, he's got Patrick Mahone right behind him out of Texas Tech there.
And he's breathing
Texas
down
A&M, Texas A&M, who's got a cannon and can absolutely open up that field. So it's kind of nice because it's like, you're not saying that they will switch him in the middle of the year, even if they're like 5-0, 6-0, something crazy like that. But the thought of like everybody in the organization loves the guy behind you.
Yeah.
Because you were game management. He's like, oh, okay, so 300 yards this week, kill the Chargers this week. Like, oh, okay, maybe we'll just keep him for a while. But just that thought of like having to almost look over your shoulder as a veteran, probably not that great.
No.
But giving Kansas City fans what they're looking for, a 3-0 start.
Can't fault that. Redskins 27 over the Raiders, who only put 10 up on the board. That was kind of a little puzzling, I got to admit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I gotta swallow my credentials. I told you last week that I thought that was that game to me because I told you Oakland's my go-to team. I think they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. Well, hope the Super Bowl's on the West Coast.
Yeah, that was another one like Seattle.
Oh, wait, it's in Minnesota.
No, it was like Seattle.
Just in case, I just wanted to plug that.
Just traveling on the East Coast, maybe not the best thing for Oakland, but not the best performance in prime time.
No, especially from Beast Mode. Only 6 carries, 18 yards.
Yay.
I talked in the pre-show, the big football show that we had a couple weeks ago, that I'm really big on Kirk Cousins. That division, I think, is in his hand. And I'm telling you, man, I gave you the stat. On the road, bench him every single time in your fantasy team. But at home, he's got that magic working, and it was there.
Yeah, 25 of 30 for 365 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Can't fault that stat line. And to close out the week, Dallas over Arizona, 28-17. It's a good win for the Cowboys coming back against Denver and the performance they displayed out there. Dak, 13 for 18, 183 and 2 touchdowns. And Ezekiel Elliott, 22 carries, 80 yards, 1 touchdown. And what can you really say about that game?
Man, I'm not sure there's much you can say. I'm really not sure what more you can say about it.
No, I mean, just Cowboys looked good. Cardinals looked like they were struggling a little bit. And the Cowboys turned it on in the fourth quarter. I mean, they definitely were, making their presence felt. I know our big Cardinals fan out there was chiming in and not exactly happy with the performance.
No.
To say the least. And Arizona, I mean, I know that they lost David Johnson for the year. Chris Johnson, not exactly lighting up the stat line.
No, 12 carries for 17 yards.
Not going to get the job done.
No, and the longest rusher of the night was Andre Ellington, 5 carries for 22 yards. So
Arizona's going to have to do some work when they get back on the field. We're going to take a quick break. You are listening to the ODPH. And we're back here on the hashtag ODPH. Make sure you're hitting us up on the social media. We want to interact with you. One major move happened in this NBA offseason. And I'm not talking about Kyrie going to Boston. Number 7 has left New York.
Thank goodness.
You bite your tongue. Carmelo Anthony is no longer a Knick. And it's a sad day in Mudville. Yeah.
A little bit of a surprise.
It was a surprise. I mean, I got to be honest. It was kind of a surprise because with all the drama going on that, is Melo staying? Is Melo going?
Well, I think the writing became clear on the wall when the morning he got traded. You woke up and saw notifications and posts from various people that, he'd expanded the list of teams he'd be willing to be traded to. So you had to figure, looking back, you had to figure something was going on for that to happen.
Yeah. And, it was a lot of drama this offseason. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I think that's the final move in the Phil Jackson legacy.
Let's flash back about 2 months to the disappointment in your voice when Phil left versus when Hoodie Melo took off.
Well,
it sounds one and the same. Does it not? Does it not, Pat?
Yeah,
it's pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like he shed a tear when Phil left because he was laughing so hard he couldn't contain himself.
And now Melo has left.
And now he's real tissue. Now real tears.
Now is the time when I need to take a moment to reflect. No, but in all honesty, with Melo leaving, it is tough because as a Knicks fan, when he came over, there was a lot of hype. There's
a lot of people excited.
Yeah, because we did not have a superstar of that caliber leading the team since the Patrick Ewing era of the Knicks, and I think that's a fair statement to make.
Yeah.
That he was a lot of hype, a lot of energy. I know with Amari Stoudemire in the roster too, there was a lot of high expectation, and unfortunately, it just did not pan out. Can't really fault that. I mean, not all on him because, as we've discussed, the organization had some work to do, and unfortunately, did not get the job done. You can't really you can't really express how much, the potential was there, and now it's kind of like, well, what would have happened? If maybe certain moves happened to make it work. Yeah, see, I can't even focus right now because with Melo leaving, even though we did get some good talent for him, with Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and the 2018 second-round pick. So they are rebuilding. They're going to center around Porzingis. The Knicks have got some work to do. On the other hand, OKC is going all in this season.
Oh yeah, they're going for broke
without question.
The cool thing is about being a Knicks fan is
everything
is fat. You've got Hoodie Melo, who is now shipped off to OKC, and everybody's all upset. He's gone, but you only have to deal with missing him for one game because your opener is in OKC.
Yep,
it's
so
true.
You're gonna get a good view of him.
It's true, and he's going to go for broke in that one.
Yeah, he's probably going to put up 35.
He will not be sitting on the bench for that one.
Maybe in the fourth because it'll be such a blowout, but
maybe.
Yeah.
Even then, I don't know if Billy Donovan will let him sit there because I'm sure if Hoodie will be like, let me just go for 60. That'd be fine.
I think
pull the Mamba.
Melo's gonna slip Russ like a 15. Be like, yo, just give me this one game. I need to show some things.
You get a triple double the first half. I'm gonna put 60 in the second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna greet my team in OKC real good.
I think they're definitely gonna put some points up that night. I mean,
there's some motivation.
It's gonna be a statement game. I think not so much against the Knicks, but I think to let the defending champions know this is what we got here in OKC. We're going to let you know you have some new competition on the block.
When OKC comes to New York, will he be welcome?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh, he will be. Yeah, he will be welcomed, because it's more so not that he wanted to leave the city; he wanted to leave the organization. So,
yeah, but he made that blatantly clear. Like he wanted to be out of your organization.
Oh no, and like I said, from the organization standpoint, yeah, they're not going to put any fanfare on. But from the Knicks fans, he'll get a very loud ovation.
Are you going to just frame his jersey that you have?
I don't know. We'll see.
Put it right next to Lundqvist.
But I got to put it there with a hoodie.
True.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Got to do that.
True.
Yes, which, I mean, like I say,
if you're not familiar with what he's talking about, just you Google Hoodie Melo.
Hoodie Melo.
Yes, because, I mean, like I said, Carmelo, when he came, there's a lot of hype. I mean, it's probably the first NBA jersey I bought since I got a LeBron one for Cleveland.
So with Melo going to OKC, where do they rank in the West?
2.
3.
Who'd you put ahead of him?
Houston.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
No, it's close. It's real close. But I give the edge to Houston right now. It's not to say that it won't be upset, an upset in the playoffs when they get there. I think that they both have a lot of the same elements, but I think Harden is going to mesh well quicker.
Oh yeah.
With Chris Paul. Even though they kind of have the same game, I just think that Paul will be just more happy to give some assists and Harden is going to take over games. That being said, I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period for Melo and Westbrook and Paul George to see, okay, who's going to take over the game tonight.
See, I don't think so with Melo and Paul George, because I remember reading, I think it was from Adrian Wojnarowski or somebody from ESPN, that the day Melo traded, that they weren't entirely surprised because Melo had been working out with Paul George this summer.
Oh, I'm sure.
At least on that connection, they'll be good. But Russ and Melo, yeah, there might be a little bit of work.
Well, that's going to be the thing, because Melo's you are joining Westbrook's team. I think there's no question of that. And I think Melo will be more than willing to share ball time with him.
Yeah.
But as far as, who's going to be running that team, well, it's still Westbrook's.
Yep.
And will Melo be happy to play the second fiddle? I think he will. But
yeah.
Because I don't think you make the decision to go out there unless you have the buy-in in. But it could go either way. I think he's making the right decision by getting out, because if he's that angry at the organization, obviously you gotta go. And as much as I think he hates leaving New York,
Yeah, I think he'll be okay playing second fiddle to Westbrook because he'll know in OKC he won't have the same pressures on him that he had in New York, that he had to do it all, take the final shot. That you've got Paul George and Russell Westbrook there with him, so he doesn't have to do it all.
But now I think he has more pressure, though.
Oh yeah, you go with a team like that, you got to win.
No, I think it's all or nothing. I think anything less than a championship season's a failure.
Yep. No, yeah, you stack a team like that.
What do you? So I'm guessing both of you have Golden State number 1
Oh yeah.
by a country mile.
Have to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Pat, you put Houston at 2 now with, or you still stay with OKC?
No, he took OKC at 2.
OKC.
I took
You-
Houston
you-
at 2.
No, I was just making sure because I know we forgot about Houston. But what about San Antonio?
4.
4. They got Kawhi Leonard, who is a great, if not the best defender in the NBA, but you got some question marks with them.
You got Kawhi and you got Greg Popovich as a coach who is essentially the Bill Belichick of the NBA.
Hello, Pau Gasol,
Paul is up there.
Aldridge,
Green.
Green,
Aldridge
Kawhi.
is hit and miss. Aldridge was very inconsistent last season. That being said, I mean, no, they have the talent there, but making my opinion, and this is solely my opinion. Let me know what you think on, #ODPH. I need to see more out of the Spurs to go, okay, they're a lock for, in my rankings, in the West. I need to see more because Kawhi can do a lot, and he is a superstar, if not in the making. I think he is right now, but you need more of Aldridge, who was very inconsistent last season.
Did Danny Green won that NBA Finals MVP, didn't he?
I'm
pretty sure he did.
Pat's going to check here in a sec. But okay, he was good in the finals, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same token, last season, where'd they end up in the playoffs? That's the argument. To match up with Golden State because they are the benchmark right now. Could they hang for 7 with them? I mean, obviously with Kawhi getting hurt, that changed things last year.
But they gave Golden State all they wanted plus.
They gave, but we didn't see the real potential. I mean, obviously with Kawhi not being on the court. I'm just saying, was it going to be consistent? I don't know.
So with Melo going to, so you've got CP3 going to Houston. You've got Hoodie Melo going out to OKC. I feel like both of those teams, I wouldn't say I would have the Spurs catapult them to 2 over both of those teams, but my counter argument that I had with somebody else at work was using Golden State as the example. Mm-hmm. They add MVP talent Kevin Durant and have more losses initially. You know what I mean? Their first year all together because they're trying to work it all out. So
right.
That's my only I don't want to say again. I'm not saying Houston's gonna. I would say Golden State 1, Houston 2, OKC 4 kind of thing, and Memphis is a 3. No, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just thinking that go from Russell, who's doing it all by himself, to Paul George MVP talent, Melo former MVP talent. They all want their shots, man. It's hard for them to at least get it.
Little side note: Danny Green not Finals MVP.
Okay.
Huh.
But he had a very impressive performance when he was there, so I can understand why you would think that. But getting back to your argument, yeah, it's going to take a while to gel, and that's going to be the X factor of that team. But if you're looking just now on stats and paper right now, just doing the eye test, the potential is there for a 2nd seed, 3rd seed, just looking at what they have on paper right now. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to get on the court and see what meshes.
Right.
And that's going to be the key. And especially with how elite Golden State is playing right now, that they are now in the prime run, to match up to them is going to be the big question coming out of the West. Now, is it to say that Golden State couldn't get knocked off? Yeah, they could.
Sure.
But it's going to be a hard task to do.
Well, especially if with the San Antonio Spurs, Tony Parker's out until November.
Right.
Right, but he's also getting up there in age.
So okay, so as we're recording, obviously we've talked heavily on the West, but what about the East?
Dwayne Wade signing with the Cavs.
Whoa, boy.
Which is kind of a crazy move in some aspects because you're reuniting two of the big three, the originators of the super team, if
Yeah.
you will. Their bench is now extremely deep in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Starting five ain't bad either.
Read it off.
Your potential starting five come playoff time would be Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Tristan Thompson, with your bench being Derrick Rose, J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, Jay Crowder, and Channing Frye.
It's a definitely solid squad up and down. I mean, I think that was the one thing that was been hurting Cleveland the past couple of years is bench depth.
Yeah.
That now, if Derrick Rose can play at a high level consistently, if Dwayne Wade, who I think being back with LeBron is going to help him tremendously, Isaiah Thomas is going to fit in there as he can fit in.
Yeah, he's for what I was reading the other day, though, he's not expected to be back in for a while, though, because of the injury he's dealing with.
Right.
So, but yeah, I kind of like what LeBron had to say on Wade joining the Cavs. Quote, it's like when you start school, you walk into the classroom, and one of your best friends is there, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is going to be fun.
And plus, I think with how bad the feeling is right now with Kyrie leaving how he did with LeBron, to bring in, one of LeBron's best friends, who is also a great player in Dwayne Wade, is only going to help him.
Yeah,
and kind of reestablish a little familiar, friendly confines of the Quicken Loans Arena. It can only help him.
Mm-hmm.
And, thinking that first opening night, you've got D. Wade, LeBron in his building, and their first game is Boston.
Yep.
And
oh boy,
LeBron is going to want to take that over. And if you want to talk, I will even say this. I think that game is going to be more emotional than when Melo comes back to New York.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Without question.
100%.
I think that is going to be your marquee game to watch. And mark my words, LeBron is going to have a night that night.
There'll be some heavy booze.
And the other thing,
Heavy booze.
it's well known how passionate Cleveland sports fans are. Very passionate. There's going to be more than one person who shows up to work the next day with no voice.
No, that city. See, it's going to be like when LeBron used to come when he played in Miami. Those were events, and if you were a Cleveland fan, like I said, my late dad, God rest his soul, trust me, that game was circled on the calendar. Mm-hmm. And no matter what the rest of the season was, because you knew your season was not going to be looking good.
No.
Cleveland showed up for that game
most
of the time.
I remember watching that first game when LeBron came back to Cleveland because I knew it was going to be out of control, and I remember laughing just because how loud it was.
Yeah, because Cleveland will get up for those kinds of games, and that arena is going to be electric that night. And if I'm Kyrie Irving, you had better put up some points to get that arena quiet as possible in a hurry.
And it's not going to help.
No, it's not. But it's not going to help. But I'm just saying he needs to make a statement game for him, because if he like you just say hypothetically he puts up 10 points, something small, and really gets kind of like caught up in the moment, which I know like Frederick Theodore is going to be chiming in about this, but I'm just being very honest about it. If Kyrie comes out flat that game and has an awful game, what do you think that's going to be sent into him for the rest of the season?
It's going to be a long season.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to come out.
Buyer's remorse?
I think he's going to have some buyer's remorse by leaving, because I think that he might not have realized. Now, granted, don't get me wrong. Boston has a good team. But leaving the team that went to 3 straight finals to going to the unknown, which is, I mean, Boston's an up-and-coming team. There's nothing saying that they won't get there. They might get there this season.
Number 1 seed last year.
Yeah. They're not saying the potential isn't there. But to leave the success you had there, and if you don't come out and make a statement game for yourself, I'm going to say the shadow of doubts might be creeping in a little bit.
I got a little curious, and I went to StubHub for the tickets for that game. You've already got one ticket on StubHub going for over $1,700. And you've got 2 more going for over $1,000.
So, folks, let us know what you think about this. Who do you think came out with a better deal, Oklahoma City or Cleveland? And who's your pick for the NBA? We're going to take a quick break. You are listening to the ODPH.
People tend to look away when you're living shades of gray. The more I scrap from day to day, the more they tend to fade away. We knew right where we'd be, floating on the airwaves, you see. It's a heartbreak, soul-shake, radio attack, taking 4 steps forward and no steps back. We knew right where we'd be, floating on the airwaves, you see. It's a heartbreak, soul-shake, radio attack, taking 4 steps forward and no steps back.
And welcome back to the ODPH. Right now we have some breaking news as we are taping. I'm going to hand this off to Padawan Jay because he has got the scoop on this. Pad.
Yeah, so I'm sure you've probably heard about this by now when you're listening to the show, but on Tuesday it was announced that the FBI was looking into the NCAA, and specifically a couple of schools. 4 college basketball coaches have been arrested. That would be Oklahoma State assistant coach Lamont Evans, Auburn associate coach Chuck Person, USC assistant coach Tony Bland, and Arizona assistant coach Emmanuel Richardson. This also involves Jim Gatto, who is the director of global sports marketing for basketball at Adidas. This investigation lasted 2 years, and breakdown of this is the FBI says that Gatto would pay out hundreds of thousands of dollars to families of elite college basketball recruits, basically in an effort to steer them towards Adidas schools, such as Louisville. Now, Louisville is not directly named in the filings and in the papers, but and there are several other schools listed. They are, or not listed, excuse me, they are simply listed as uni and then a number. Writers in Louisville were able to figure out that Louisville was one of them based off of Brian Bowen and being listed, and basically they're saying he flipped his commitment after getting $100,000 from Gatto, and Nike employees have also been subpoenaed as we record now. The documents basically say that the coaches listed would take money from a former NBA agent and a chief investment officer for a financial group in exchange for pushing their players towards the former agency and the financial group. And now I say former NBA agent because he was fired from said agency after he racked up $42,000 in Uber bills on a player's credit card. The charges include conspiracy to commit bribery, solicitation of bribes and gratuities. That is in regards to Evans from OK State, Richardson from Arizona, and Bland from USC. Payment of bribes and gratuities by an agent in regards to the former agent and chief financial officer. And then honest services, wire fraud in regards to the universities, and wire fraud and travel act conspiracy. Now, the interesting thing of note, and I'm getting all this information from an article on Deadspin.com. Link is going to be on the site, on Facebook, everything. If Coach like Persons doesn't cooperate with the feds, he's facing 80 years in a federal prison. Tony Bland was placed on immediate administrative leave. Lamont Evans and Emmanuel Richardson have both been suspended immediately, and Chuck Persons has been suspended without pay immediately. Now, of course, today it broke that Louisville has placed both Rick Pitino and athletic director Tom Jurich on administrative leave. The belief is they both will be fired, and now if they are going to be fired, it's not said yet, it's not certain yet, it's not confirmed. It would not be until October 18th, which is the next time that the school's Board of Governors would meet. It's also expected that Bruce Pearl at Auburn might be fired, because if Rick Pitino's not going to make it out of this, Bruce Pearl probably won't. And the fallout's already beginning with recruits, and it's only going to snowball from here. 5-star recruit E.J. Montgomery has decommitted from Auburn, and then 2 5-star recruits from 2016, Mustafa Heron and Austin Wiley, may also leave Auburn, although Heron was already considering leaving before this, and then Wiley is the player at the center of the charges and issues involving Person, and also Louisville 2018 5-star recruit Fernie Simmons has decommitted. Pitino's attorneys had a quote, put out a statement saying, quote, "He has done nothing wrong and there is no evidence to suggest otherwise. To rush to judgment is regrettable," close quote. Thought on this?
If this is true, and like Pat said, he is citing Deadspin
Yep.
as his article source. So he's going to be posting the article up. So if you want to get a playback of that, you can read it over. It'll be on the social media after we post the episode live. This is going to be a very telling situation. I think it's going to be setting a precedent for years to come if all this is true. And this is just going to be a very, very big black eye on college basketball for the upcoming season.
Yeah, it's real ugly. I wasn't quite sure what was going on with it. I'd heard about it. I'd seen about it, but I started looking around and reading an article. This is real ugly. I mean, you got some talks and whispers that Louisville might get the death penalty for this.
Which means that they no longer will have a program for college basketball.
Which is saying something.
It is very unheard of.
For 1 year. It's not indefinitely, it's for 1 year.
We're still waiting to see what the fallout is going to be. So
yeah, this is still a developing story. You're going to have more players decommit from all the programs. Who knows where this is going to go? The story will be further updating. We'll keep you updated on this, but it's just nuts.
We wanted to make sure we covered this too because as we're taping, we're not going to be on next week. Padawan and I are going to be at New York Comic-Con and doing some homework on our new spin-off show that we're going to be doing on the ODPH social network, I guess you can call it. We're going to be covering a little entertainment segment, covering some comics, covering some TV, covering movies, covering all things kind of social and happening with that form of entertainment. So we wanted to make sure that we addressed this before we left because this is going to be a very big story in the upcoming week. But we're going to end the show now with our NFL lock and leap of the week. Now, what we're saying is, with this, is we're going to pick two games. One is our Stone Cold Lead Pipe lock, and then we're going to take a flyer on another game. Something that maybe is going to happen. We're going to take a long shot, if you will. And we just want to have a little fun with this because it's kind of been a very long week for everybody. And we kind of want to end the show on a very high note and a very good note because, like I said, we're not going to be here next week. JR will probably be hitting the blogs. I'll be hitting the blogs. Pat's going to be hitting the blogs because we're going to be live down in New York Comic-Con. JR is going to be circling around the Broome County Veterans Memorial Arena, a.k.a. the Floyd L. Maines Arena now. I keep calling it the Broome County Arena.
It was that name for a long while.
It's like the LA Chargers. I can't really say that easy. I don't want to say San Diego. But the Binghamton Devils are going to be kicking off their home opener on October 7th. So JR might be down there unless he's representing the blue shirts a little too much in the parking lot.
There's a good chance. There's a good chance I'll be down there. There's rumors that I may be lurking in that area.
Yeah. So if you see him, make sure to go up, say hi, let him know what you think of the show, and we're gonna be down in con. So if you can find us down in NYCC, let us know. We'd like meeting our fans. But as we say, going into the show, who wants to start off with our lead pipe lock and just crazy leap?
All right. Well, I think my lead pipe lock is going to be the Vikings and Lions in a barn burner of a scoring match. That's going to be insane, I think. Just you look at Stafford and everything he can do in the fourth quarter, which is going to be nuts, and then the Vikings continuing their offensive attack. Leap, I'm going to say you've got two 0-3 teams going against each other, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to say the Browns are going to get a win before the Bengals do.
JR?
Well, as I'm looking through this week and I'm thinking, gosh, who's my stone cold lock? My lock this week, they got to give me a little bit more faith. I'm going to take Oakland on the road in Denver. That's my lock.
Oh, okay.
That's not even my flyer. That's my lock. I told you before, I think Oakland is definitely my AFC team for the Super Bowl. They got to get a big win. They had a terrible outing in Washington. Terrible outing in Washington, if I didn't say that. It was terrible. So I'm thinking two teams. You think about it, they're both bad losses. Denver coming off the tough loss in Buffalo. Oakland to the embarrassing loss on Sunday night primetime to Washington. I'm taking Oakland on that one because Simeon's got the potential with C.J. Anderson, but beast mode Carr, Cooper, Crabtree, I'm going to take that one. This one I've put a little bit of thought into. My big Pat, that was my second one. I was the Bengals and Browns, but I'm going to take one here. I'm actually going to take the Giants on the road in Tampa.
Oh,
because you know what? I told you before, I'm not a big fan of Winston, and I think that defense in New York is actually pretty good. And if they learned anything, which they should after watching the Skull Nation Vikings show you how to get the big win over the Bucs, that offense is pretty good. And sunny weather, Eli Manning, that's my flyer. I'm going to get the Giants a win here.
All right. Well, I'm going to close this out with my lock of the week is going to be the Dallas Cowboys at home against the traveling LA Rams. I think that show you saw Thursday night last week was just a one-trick pony, and I think the Cowboys are going to just annihilate the Rams. I think they're going to get home. They're going to be all fired up from the win in Arizona, and they're going to want to try making a statement that they are the best team in the NFC East, if not the NFC, period. And for my flyer, I saw what you guys picked, and I think they were good flyers as well, but I am going to go and say there is a winning streak starting with the Jets over the Jacksonville Jaguars, because everybody knows I do think Jacksonville has a great defense, but I think that they're going to just come in and just be a little flat coming back from London. Blake Bortles is not going to have a back-to-back game like he did over in Wembley. I believe they played in Wembley.
Yep.
And I think the Jets are going to get their 2 wins, which is probably going to infuriate anybody that's hoping they tank for the season for the number 1 pick.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, and I think they're going to get their second win. I'm just going to take a shot. I got this weird feeling about this one.
This is exactly why we call them leaps.
Yeah,
that's a leap.
Yeah, that is a stretch. Like if I was Mr. Fantastic. Sorry, I'm in my comic book mode now, right? So let us know what you guys think. You got a stone cold lock? You got a really crazy feeling on a team? Let us know on the social media. So on behalf of JR, Sound Guy Galore, Pedal J, I am Ken. Thank you for listening to another episode of the ODPA.
Instead of making promises in the dark,